Hello everybody, Harold Newbill, McClatchy Insurance Agency, and I'm here again with
Dan Loesch with D. Loesch Construction.
And we're going to talk a little bit today about electrical panels and why many insurance companies are not insuring older panels anymore or recommending their replacement. Dan, could you tell me a little bit about what you're seeing in electrical panels and older ones?
Yeah, Harold, this right here, what we've got is a Zinsco panel. So you've got the older style Zinsco breakers that they installed in the 50s and 60s. They actually have discontinued these breakers. They don't make them anymore. So buying them aftermarket is very expensive. They also don't provide the arc fault protection that the newer style breakers provide per code. They've also, most of these panels are 100 amp service, and most new electrical code requires maybe a 200 amp panel for a typical house. So it's what we're seeing is a lot of people are upgrading their panels to a newer style square D, and they're going with a larger amperage service.
So many insurance companies are not wanting to insure these anymore because they were known as a fire hazard. Have you ever heard that before, and what's your experience there?
Yeah, I have, and I think a lot of that can be attributed to the way the practices that electricians had in the past. And what we've seen is a lot of shoddy wiring in attics, things where they don't put junction boxes in, and so you kind of translate that to the panel work, and you might have a fire hazard. So it may be the panels themselves, or it may be just the common workmanship that was present in the 60s. So things have changed.
So what you're saying is that it kind of makes sense the insurance companies are not wanting to insure them anymore and wanting their replacement?
Oh, I would definitely recommend if you're buying a house that was built in the 50s, 60s, upgrading the panel and maybe even upgrading your service just to make sure that the lights aren't flickering when you plug in the blender. You know, maybe have a whole house rewire, that is highly recommended.
So people, of course, that's pretty expensive, especially if it's an apartment complex with multiple units. Is there any solutions to remove the Zinsco panel while still keeping costs fairly reasonable?
Yeah, if you're just doing a panel replace, you might be talking about a couple $1,000s, maybe $2,000, $3,000 just to swap in a panel. You can have an electrician look up in your attic or your crawl space just to kind of verify some things. You might want to use it as an opportunity to re-insulate. Some of these houses have the older style insulation, so it might not be a bad idea to have an insulation company come vacuum out all the old insulation, look at your wiring, and maybe blow in some new higher quality insulation.
Well, and one thing we're always reminding people is the best way to know what it's going to cost is to get a bid. And do you work with people who can get them a bid on that panel?
Definitely. If they give me a call, I know that you're probably going to put my number on there. Feel free to give me a ring, and I can set you up with some qualified professionals.
Great. Well, so to wrap up, Zinsco panels, Federal Electric, and several others are considered panels that are no longer acceptable to many insurance companies. I hope today that talking with Dan a little bit helped you understand where the insurance companies are coming from and how they want to help make sure that your property is safe and that you don't have any electrical fires or things that may damage or destroy your property and require a rebuild. So thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you, Dan, for all your help.
Thank you.